the arguments made, look, I'm not libertarian, you guys know that, but the argument of taxation is theft starts to resonate. Because
under this government.
Because you see how much gets taken out of your paychecks, and you see your quality of life dwindle away year after year, election cycle after election cycle.
Ana Kasparian went on a rant on the Young Turks along with Cenk Uygur about the fact that so much of our tax dollars here in the United States are wasted on weapons for other countries and all kinds of other things, rather than being used here at home to improve the lives of Americans. We've got a couple of clips of this. Let's take a look.
I have to get something off my chest. It's been on my mind since yesterday. Can I get it off my chest? You ready? He has no idea what's coming. Okay.
No, I don't.
Yesterday we did a story about what would happen if Trump gets elected and he further extends tax cuts for the rich, right? Now, it is an injustice that ordinary, hardworking Americans have a higher percentage of their income taxed compared to literal billionaires in the country, okay? I get that conservatives like to focus on the dollar amount, and the dollar amount is much more when it comes to extremely wealthy people. But obviously, percentage-wise, okay, the higher taxes on low income people or lower income people has more of an impact on their lives and their livelihood, okay? So I still stand by what we said, but I've gotten to a point where I don't trust government, Cenk. Whether it's a Democrat in charge or a Republican in charge, I don't trust government. So in that analysis that we did and talked about, one of the tax breaks that came with Trump's tax cuts for the rich, if he extends it, it would lead to $700 billion in lost revenue for the federal government. So what? So what? What does the federal government do with our money? $700 billion for what? For more aid to other countries in the form of weaponry? Is that what it is? Which is basically just redistributing our money from taxpayers to weapons contractors and defense contractors.
Yeah, so
it bothers me. I can't sit here and talk about like, the federal government needs more revenue when I've seen what they do with our revenue, Cenk.
So there's two different things here, and this is really important, guys. So there is the issue of whether government is a good thing or a bad thing. And then there's the issue of this current government as it's constituted, this system that we're living under, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And does that spend our money right? So I think the right wing makes an absurd point that government is always bad. But okay, wait, you guys want cops, right? Cops are government. Firefighters, government. Schools, buildings. It's absurd to say government bad. Defense, government, etc. Social Security, Medicare, government. So of course it depends, right? But under this current system, and these two things are being conflated, and then I'm gonna get to the political side of this in a second because it's really important. These two things are being conflated. This current government sucks. And it sucks not because it's Biden. No, by current government, I don't mean right now. I mean the last 40, 50 years. And that's because our Supreme Court legalized bribery. And when they did, corporations that have the most money took over both parties. That's the whole thesis of my book, Justice is Coming, right? And I provide overwhelming evidence. And for those of you who are Democrats, I hate to break your heart, but they totally took over the Democratic Party as well. So now this current government is not a government of the people, by the people, for the people. It's of the corporations, by the corporations, for the corporations. So that's why we all hate it. And then get a load of this. That's genius on so many fronts by the corporations and the powerful, because it destroys the whole point of the Democratic Party. The Republicans were also always for the rich. The Democrats were supposed to be for the average man, but they're not anymore. So that's a giant problem for the Democrats. Number two, it makes the government look bad, look like an evil organization. So that is also helpful to the Republicans and hurts the Democratic Party because the government keeps screwing us. So the entire system now gets you swirling around and angry and directs you towards policies that help rich people. And so the Republicans and Democrats have been doing good cop, bad cop on us for the last 50 years. And that's why you're frustrated like this, Ana.
Yeah,
and that's why you speak for the country.
At some point, the arguments made, look, I'm not libertarian, you guys know that, but the argument of taxation is theft starts to resonate. Because
under this government.
Because you see how much gets taken out of your paychecks, and you see your quality of life dwindle away year after year, election cycle after election cycle. I'm supposed to sit here and get real upset that the federal government doesn't have the kind of revenue that it could if they just tax us more and tax wealthier people more. What are you gonna do with the money? Are you gonna actually fight for policies that are gonna improve the lives of Americans? And so far, I have not seen much of that happen. Okay, you wanna tout the infrastructure bill. What was the infrastructure bill? There's a provision in there that privatizes public infrastructure. I'm not excited about that, but
I'm going to stop here for just a second to say, this is one of these things to me that I think it doesn't matter which side of the aisle that you're on, what political party you believe in, or what ideology or whatever. What Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are saying here is correct. Both parties are completely owned by corporations and big money interest. And I guess if you're one of those big money interests, if you're CEO of some Fortune 500 company or you're a billionaire, then you would be against what they're saying. But to me, this is a completely bipartisan argument that Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are making. We're getting screwed over by both parties, all of us. And it really is the very, very rich. I'm talking people with hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars against everybody else.
supposed to celebrate it? Really? Okay, fine. And then there's the provisions that provides government grants, meaning our taxpayer money, to corporations.
Yep. Told you. The whole thing is structured around taking our money and giving it to corporations that are the largest donors of both the Republican and Democratic parties. And what's the mainstream media's role in all this is to pretend that that is not happening. That's why they never ever report, oh, while we're doing the infrastructure bill, how much did construction companies give to Democrats? How much did unions that benefit from construction give to Democrats, right? And when they were passing the giant tax cuts for corporations under Trump, how much did corporations give to Donald Trump? None of that is ever reported, even by the press who hates Trump. When it comes to rich people and corporations, all of a sudden they can't find any facts that show how bad Trump is. Isn't that amazing? Sheldon Adelson gives him $100 million twice in campaigns, and the press who hates Trump doesn't criticize that. You don't want to know why? Where does the $100 million go to? Mainly into TV ads. So TV and media is now invested in that same corruption. So they want to trick you into believing that there's a real food fight going on and people are fighting for your rights. But Anna mentioned it earlier in the show.
No one's fighting for us, period.
What has happened like since the Republicans took the House? Neither side has proposed any bills that actually affect your lives. There's been all this nonsense hearings and circuses and speaker changes, but it's not Republicans that are in charge of the House have proposed 0 bills that are gonna help you. On the other hand, how about Democrats? Bernie and Ro Khanna and a couples have introduced good bills we've talked about. But outside of them, they're not in power. The corporate Democrats and Joe Biden, what have they proposed? Nothing.
It's perfect gridlock. Gridlock's a great excuse. You have the Democrats control the Senate, but not enough, right? They don't have the 60 Democratic senators to get over the filibuster. To get over the legislative filibuster, and then, oh, how nice, Republicans have a slim majority in the House, so we can just point to gridlock and say that we can't work together, we can't get any bills passed, and we do nothing for the American people as they continue collecting our taxes, by the way, and as they continue funneling that revenue and those tax dollars to all sorts of things that Americans are actually overwhelmingly against, like including military aid or providing military aid for wars abroad. Anyway, this is super spontaneous, very self-indulgent. I had to get it off my chest because I've been thinking about that story we did since yesterday. And I just feel like, listen, if we had a well-functioning government that actually utilized those tax dollars to improve the lives of Americans, I would feel even more strongly against extending the tax cuts for the rich. But I can't help but think about what the government does with that money, and it makes me absolutely furious.
Now, in the meanwhile, the only people not paying taxes like we all are the super rich. Sometimes they pay 0%.
Corporations that
Amazon made $1 trillion and paid no taxes.
no federal taxes.
Come on, guys. You're telling me this system isn't rigged? And the minute you say the word rigged, mainstream media is gonna jump all over you. How dare you? Are you saying that the billionaires who have given millions of dollars to politicians are running the system? Goddamn right I'm saying that. And are you saying corporations that give money aren't doing it for their health or for the general welfare? Of course, you goddamn liars. Of course. Right? So, and now, final thing, since we started on taxes. So if you're a guy making $200,000, you're a dentist, you're an accountant, whatever you are, right? They're gonna tax you 40, 50, sometimes if you live in California, New York, even over 50, right? So they're gonna take 100 of your 200,000, and then you're gonna have to try to figure out how to pay for private school and all that stuff with that remaining 100,000. But if you're a billionaire, you made $1 billion last year, on average, they're paying about 8%. So yeah, they're gonna pay a big number like 80 million or whatever, but they're gonna keep 920 million. How is that fair? And no one cares about fair anymore because this government is just doing the great American robbery while the media drives the getaway car.
So again, this is just one of these things where it doesn't matter if you don't like the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, Ana Kasparian. This is something that I don't see how anybody could disagree with what they're saying. Government is supposed to work for us. Like I said, government is not supposed to be, it's not an inherently evil thing. It's supposed to be us electing people to represent us, not to represent the people that give them the most money. And like Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are saying here, it's a rigged system. It's rigged against almost anybody who's listening to this. I can't imagine there's a lot of billionaires or Fortune 500 CEOs listening to this, but just about anybody who would be listening to this video, listening to my voice right now, is being screwed over by the system that we have. And until people figure out that it's regular average people, and even like Cenk Uygur is saying here, somebody who's a doctor who's making a couple $100,000 a year, they're not the rich when you compare them to somebody like Elon Musk. So this is what this is really the number one thing that I think is dividing the country. Not all of these social issues, but that people don't realize that most of those things don't matter, that it's what really matters is the vast majority of the people who are not super rich against the rich. And I'm talking the very rich. I'm not talking somebody who makes even a few $100,000 a year. I'm talking about people with hundreds or even billions of dollars. So, like I say, I don't think it matters whether you like Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian. What they said in this video was 100% the truth. But what do you think? Do you agree with Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian? Are you a Fortune 500 CEO and you think that they're wrong, or you're a billionaire? You think you're going to be a billionaire? I got news for you. It's probably not going to happen. But anyway, let me know. What do you think about these thoughts from Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe, comment on the video. All of that helps me to create more content like this, if this is stuff that you're interested in seeing. I'll see you in the next video.